Wanted to start off saying congrats because I watched every single episode yesterday and I'm obsessed with this show. When I first saw the trailer, I'm like a huge like Anna, Todd, and After fan, and I know that like your character's reading the book, and I love that so much. I want to get into that shortly, but since we have some time here, I kind of want you to take me to like the beginning of this. I know that you've talked about this before, you know, in a couple of interviews, but what your like audition process was like, how you found out about it, what your audition process was like, you know, when you met Mindy Kaling. And I just kind of want you to take me through that journey of like starting this process all the way to, you know, your first day of filming.
Yeah, no, for sure. So the beginning would be the tweet, right? The infamous to the world tweet that my best friend was the one who found it. She found it, she screenshotted it to me and sent it. And I was like, yeah, we can do this. Like, it'll be fun. I honestly only said yes because I wanted to hang out with my best friend because we haven't been able to hang out in a while. So I was like, yeah, you know what? This could be fun. We can make a funny video out of it and then have something to look back on. Right?
Yeah.
And then on top of it, we didn't think anything would come out of it because, you know, I'm just in grade 12. I'm 17. I'm not even 18. I don't have any professional experience. So we just thought, let's just do it for fun. A week after that, we sent in these first 2 tapes. They sent me an email asking for 4 more. So I was like, okay, the standards must have been set really low. Like, yikes, you know, yikes. Okay. So yet again, didn't think much of it. So I sent in now 6 tapes. Then a week after that, they said, can you come to LA to do a screen test? And I didn't even know what a screen test meant, but I was like, oh my God, free trip? Okay, cool. And I've also never been to LA before. So I walk into the audition room and I do my screen test. I see Mindy, and it's the first time I'm ever seeing her. And before I went, my friends all said, Maitreyi, for the love of God, please do not say an Office reference. Do not reference The Office. Don't make Office jokes with her. Like, be professional, okay? Like,
I gotta be cool.
Like, you gotta be cool, man. So I walked into the room, and then I figured in my head, I'm never gonna see Mindy again. Like, I might as well just have fun. So I was like, Mindy, I just want you to know I'm a huge fan of The Office, and I could be making Office references. My friends back in Canada, they told me not to. So I'm letting you know that I'm choosing not to do this. But if you want me to, I could. Just, I have the skills for that. She laughed and she thought it was funny, but I was like, what do I have to lose by saying that? I'm not going to see her again. Like, to me, I already made it to the finish line. And then, of course, I go home. And a week after that, they say, can you come to LA again for a chemistry check? And that was only when I found out that I was like one of the last people in consideration for the role. And I was like, what? What did I do? I'm confused. What happened? And then now we are here.
That's awesome. Was your chemistry reading with Darren?
No, it was with Purna.
Oh, okay. Oh my God. I love her as your mom in the movie.
Yeah.
She's so good.
She's really good.
She's amazing. Like I said, I love the show so much. And I particularly love in the pilot episode where your character Davey goes to Paxton and has that kind of awkward run-in. I feel like, you know, I'm 32 years old now, but I remember like talking to guys like back in high school and like being super nervous. Did you have like any type of experience like that where you're like talking to a crush or maybe, you know, somebody else that you admired and you just like kind of had like word vomit come out of your mouth like that?
Honestly, like, that's the biggest difference between me and Davey. I was nowhere near as boy crazy as she was, like, well, is. I never was that. I just, like, I didn't care. And I don't even, like, even now, I don't think there's a single person in my life that I would get totally nervous or, like, anxious about. Maybe excited to see, like, if I met Steve Carell, oh my God.
Oh my gosh. I love you love The Office.
I love The Office so much. But that is, like, excited nerves, but never ever like anxious, like, oh my God, dread nerves to meet anybody. I'm a pretty confident person.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Well, like I said earlier, I love the part in the trailer and also at the beginning of episode 2 where Davey is reading Anna Todd's novel After. It's one of my favorite books ever. I actually did like the set visit for After We Collided, the sequel last year.
Nice.
I know, I'm like so obsessed. So I love that. And I wanted to know for you, like, did you have anything to do with like using Anna's book? Like, have you read her books? And like, was that actually, you know, like a copy of her book that you were reading during that scene?
So I have not read After, but
Okay.
when I was filming that scene, like I was going through the book, like I was actually reading it because it was an actual copy. It was a
Right.
legitimate copy. There was the story was there,
Yeah.
and I wasn't the one who was like, oh, we should be reading After. I think because Mindy is so smart with her writing,
Oh my
she
God, yeah.
looks into all of like the cast's lives, right? And she knows how close Darren was with like the, project of After, and a lot of his fans really like love After as well.
Hmm.
So me and Darren think that Mindy put that into the script that Davey was reading After because of Darren, not because of me, right? So we thought
Right.
that was really cool that there's that little Easter egg, and it's realistic for like a 15-year-old to be reading that, which I also love. Like even though I didn't read that, for me, I'm a Harry Potter girl,
Same,
but
yeah.
I have so many friends too that still like After and stuff like that, and it's realistic, and that's a nice like subtle touch that makes the show that much more relatable.
Yeah, no, that's one of the main reasons I loved it, because I feel like the After fan base is going to be obsessed with this
Oh
show,
my
you
god,
know,
on
in
Twitter they were
particular.
blowing up. On Twitter
Yes.
they were blowing up just because of that one cameo, and I'm like, damn, the After community is like
Oh,
here for it.
the After fandom is here for it. And then speaking of that, like I guess like other little pop culture references that maybe, you know, Mindy put in there, and
Mhm.
the other creators. I know like they reference like Kristen Stewart and Charlie's Angels.
Yeah.
I have a list here: Lisa Vanderpump. You
Mhm.
know, the TikTok dancing videos. I love that the
Yes.
show plays so recent to what's going on in pop culture,
Mhm.
especially with like younger people, you know, everything over this past year. So I'm just kind of curious, while you're at home now, you know, what are some things that you're watching? Like, what are some TV shows or books or movies, you know, that you may be watching at this time?
Well, right now I'm watching Community on Netflix because
Hmm.
they finally dropped like all of it together, and it's been so long since I've watched all of Community together. So I've been watching that, and I've been rewatching like a lot of old shows and just, classic Disney movies that I haven't watched in so long. So I'm like,
Yes.
why not? Just keep it in the background and have it chilling. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I haven't watched Community, but my friend tells me it's amazing. I'm
Oh, I
like
love
gonna
it.
write that down. That's gonna be like my
Yes.
new binge watch. So
Yes.
I also love the scene, like I think it's a couple episodes in, where your character is doing the modeling poses. It's so cute. And I'm just wondering, when you're coming up with the modeling poses, like were you coming up with that on set? How much of that was improv? How much of that, you know, came from you, or just like other direction? Because I love that scene.
Honestly, I would have to say that was a whole crew effort. That was me and Lang Fisher and Mindy, but also the camera crew and sound, and we were all having so much fun with that scene. And it was probably the hardest scene physically for me because I was like, oh my god, how do models do this?
I
I am dying. What is this broken down baby doll? And everybody was trying to help me. Like, I got the camera crew saying, maybe if you put your leg more like this, like it'll be easier. And then I hear Lang yelling from the, director village saying, okay, keep your chin up more. So I felt like a toddler's in tiara at that point. I was like, yes, I'm winning.
Yes, I absolutely love that scene. So I personally love, like, I feel like throughout the whole course of the show, your character Davey is just so, she has just such like a natural confidence in the way she delivers her dialogue, and she's like very quick-witted.
Mhm.
I'm just curious, when you after you got the part, you start reading the scripts, how did you find her voice, and what kind of conversations did you maybe have with Mindy in regards to developing this like
Mhm.
really special character? Because I feel like we see a lot of, you know, high school stories, but like I just felt like she was just so quick-witted, so hilarious, so natural and genuine. And how did you kind of develop that before you guys started filming and finding her voice?
Yeah, so we had a lot of conversations about like who Davy is, and both Lang and Mindy always encouraged not just me but the rest of the cast to really bring ourselves into the characters. So with that, I put a lot of my confidence into Davy, but also I have to find that balance because she is still also an anxious little nerd who's, still trying to figure out her way, and she gets nervous.
Hmm.
So it's all about finding that in between balance that creates that relatability for people to watch, and also makes it really interesting to see how, she's not a complete perfectly like bow pretty character. She's messy and deals with challenges, which is really refreshing.
Yeah. I also feel like a huge theme in the show, like kind of going back to the pop culture references, is, you know, the obsession that we all kind of have with social media, right? Like she's looking to see if she's like getting a text from, you know, Paxton, and looking to see like everything on like Instagram. Oh my God, he followed me. So I'm curious with you, especially like with everything going on now and with most people, you know, being at home in self-quarantine, I feel like social media is more important than ever. I mean, like how, you know, as like kind of a young starlet in Hollywood now, like how are you using social media, and what have you noticed that's been, you know, different for you with it over the last, you know, like couple of months with being at home?
Well, that's actually like a really good question that I've not been asked before. And yeah, it's social media is really important now, especially because of quarantine and, you know, not being able to physically get out and meet people. And it's interesting because social media can sometimes be the worst thing, but it can also sometimes be really great because you can share and you can spread, you know, information. Think about Netflix's Instagram. Half of our marketing is done on social media.
100%.
Because we can't rely on posters and, you know, billboards so much anymore, especially when people aren't out on the streets to see that. So now we can use our platforms to spread, you know, our own projects, our own awareness, and whatever we have on our minds, and also stay true to ourselves. And for me personally, my journey with social media over these past few months has been really making sure that I always stay true to myself. I'm not posting anything just because I think that's what people want to see. Even if it's just a post that, sure, I know it might not get enough, like as much likes as something else would. I don't care. Like, I don't care. Like, I'm gonna post it. It's a cool photo. So
yeah, so you're just like trying basically like not to like change too much and like post what you like and like figure all that out. Well, I appreciate your time so much today. And do you have any type, I don't want to get into too many spoilers of the show. I want people to watch it. I absolutely loved all 10 episodes. Like I said, I binged through it yesterday. And is there anything regarding, you know, like a season 2 that you know about?
I don't know. I wish I knew. And I hope it's a yes, because I hope that there's a season 2.
The reason I'm asking is because I'm like, I literally need to know what happens now.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no. After that end, I need to know what happens.
Oh my God.
I need to know how this moves forward.
Congratulations on this. I watched literally the whole entire season yesterday. And I'm literally like so obsessed with this and cannot wait for season 2. So since we do have some time here, kind of take me back to the beginning. When you kind of were in the audition process for this, when you met Mindy Kaling, did you have a chemistry, you know, read with Maitreyi, and just kind of start from there?
Yeah, is, you know, the middle of pilot season, and honestly, it was any other audition when I first got it, because I know obviously Mindy Kaling, and I've known of Mindy Kaling, but when I saw it on the breakdown, it was titled Untitled Mindy Kaling Project, and it just didn't register. So I was like, okay, another audition, the high school heartthrob. I've done a million of these. Let's go try it out. I did it, and I forgot all about it, because that's, you know, the more you do this, the more you just kind of you can't dwell on things because it will drive you nuts. But then the next thing I knew, I was in the screen test, and I walked into the room, and the first thing I said, because it was Mindy Kaling, and then like Lang Fisher, Tristram, our director, and then like you know, like 5 other people in there, and I just looked directly at Mindy, and I was like, wow, Mindy Kaling. I was like kind of freaking out right now. And then, you know, it really broke the ice, and everyone like laughed, and it really made it easier to just have a good time. And testimony, like kudos to Mindy for she's so seasoned in what she does that she could easily be the type of person that's like, no, this is how it works, this is how it's gonna be done. But she was so open to like playing and collaborating with me and hearing my input. So really enjoyed that. And yeah, she was a dream, absolute dream on set, and never interestingly enough, never chemistry read with anyone.
Oh wow.
And I think no one chemistry read at all. And that's so unorthodox for a show, because I've been through like 2 to 3 rounds of chemistry reads before they, you know, crush my hopes and dreams and tell me that I don't have the role. So she, you know, I think I was one of the first people that was cast on the show, if I'm not mistaken. And it's really like, it's crazy to me, because they must have just had such a clear idea what they wanted, because it's a huge risk not chemistry reading people, I think, you know, because it's like, I may be great for this role, Maitreyi may be great for the role, but together we just may not mix. And all of us did miraculously. So
yeah, I mean, like I that's really interesting to me because like one of my favorite scenes in the whole entire series was in episode 2 when you guys do have like that dream sequence. I was like, well, they for sure like had a chemistry read. You know, they work so well together, but not even that, like even the relationship between Paxton and Davey for their friendship, you know, and all the way like throughout the series. I love all of the pop culture references in the series, and I feel like that makes it so like relatable and fun to watch, especially while we're all at home at this time. So I'm curious to know for you, what kind of things have you been doing while you've been self-quarantining? Have you been watching certain shows, certain movies, reading certain books to pass the time?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I've probably watched the show like 6 times at this point, and I'll still just go back and like watch certain scenes and be like, all right, working out paid off, good deal. But it's I've, you know, trying to read, and I write a lot. I actually write lyrics, and I write screenplays, and I'm working on a pilot right now. That's a good way to pass the time for me. And working out, I've been trying to, I feel like I need to be ready at any point right now to take my shirt off, because I just, you know, they're talking about this Paxton shirt thing to be like a TikTok challenge possibly, and I'm like, all right, gotta.
It was so quick. How many takes did you have to do for that scene, and how did you end up getting it down so quickly? Because when I first saw it, I was like, how did he even do this so quickly with the one arm?
Yeah, my friends are like, did they speed it up? And I'm like, I'm pretty sure they didn't, because like, and it only took two takes if I'm not mistaken. And the first one, it was just like, I think I needed a bigger t-shirt, but it's, you know, it was all on the wrist. I just, you know, you pull down, and then you push with your fingers, slide it out, and you just rip it off. It's, you know,
Do you remember how many takes you did?
I think it was 2. I think it was the second take that we got that on. And
oh
then,
my God.
Yeah, I'm not sure if this is the second take that they used, but after the second take, I was like, I was cruising. So
yeah, well,
yeah.
I'm super excited to talk to you because I am like a huge After fan, and when I first saw the trailer, no, dude, I love it so much. So when I saw the trailer for this, and I saw Anna Todd's book prominently showed when she's reading it in that daydream sequence, I'm just wondering if you had any influence in regards to putting that book in that scene. I know when I spoke with Maitreyi earlier today, she said that Mindy did kind of play into it as well, but I'm honestly just curious kind of how that happened for that particular scene.
Yeah, so in the script, I remember at the table read, it said specifically like she's reading some teenage romance novel like After or something. And I saw After, and I'm like, we have to put After in there. And they were like, why? And I'm like, I don't know if you know the story with After and me, but yeah, it's like I was like a fan favorite for the role of Trevor for the second movie, and me and Anna Todd have been, you know, in contact for a while. Such a sweet lady, and
she is.
I mean, amazing with the franchise she's built. But yeah, her fans really gathered behind me, and I'm not even gonna lie, I played into it because I was so down for that role and wanted it. And you know, at the end of the day, I was doing this show, and then they gave it to one of the Sprouse brothers, and you know, it all worked out how it should. But the fans have really stuck with me, so I was like, you have to put this book in there because all of the After fans that are still behind me right now are gonna love this little Easter egg. I'm like, it'd be great. So whether or not that influenced it or not, I don't know. But I definitely, once I saw After or something, I was like, no or something. After, let's do that.
So on behalf of everybody, I appreciate you being so kind to all the fandom, because like that's just, I feel like you're just so about it.
I was really thinking that once I didn't get the role of Trevor, they were going to be like, all right, see you, buddy. But like, they really stuck with me, and like they've shown like they really, really care, and therefore I really care. You know, it's like,
I'm curious. So when you were doing the auditioning process for this, did it kind of bleed into when you were auditioning for After We Collided too, or were they at different time frames?
Funny, interestingly enough, after we collided, Trevor was supposed to be in the first movie, like at the end. And so originally when I was in contact with Anna Todd, like via Instagram, she, I think, called Betty May Casting and was like, hey, this guy has a lot of the fans behind him. We'd love for you to see him. So they called me in for the first movie to audition for Trevor. And I think I was the only person they saw for the first movie, because it was still like, they didn't know whether or not he was going to be in the first movie or not.
Oh, wow. I did not know that.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I did that. And then like Anna reached out to me, so sweet, like just being so, you know, communicative with me in terms of, you know, what was going on. And she was like, hey, I don't think that, you know, Trevor's not going to make the first movie, but look, we know you want it, and we know, you know, we like you, and blah, blah, blah. Like, you know, just, you know, it's all good. And, you know, not saying that I got it or anything, just being like, you know, we know that you want it, and that's in our minds. But you know, this industry, I know this industry is like, none of it is really in your control. You never really know. So
Yeah.
I never was married to it, but she was so sweet on that behalf. And again, the fans are so sweet, and they have not kicked me to the curb yet. So that's great.
Like I said, I love all of the pop culture references in it. I love the use of social media as well, because I feel like now more than ever, social media has become like how we are all communicating. And just like Davey, like looking at her phone, waiting to see if she's getting a text from Paxton.
Yeah.
I feel like we've all kind of been there at that point. So for you, like, how do you feel that social, I know we kind of just touched on it actually, but how do you feel that social media kind of has changed for you, you know, during this time where we've kind of just like been at home over the last month?
Yeah, it's good and it's bad. I don't know if it's the most healthy thing, but like, since I have been in such quarantine, it's like an Instagram like is like kind of like a friend saying hello, you know?
Yeah.
And so it's like, oh wow. But then I'm like, maybe I shouldn't be checking my phone every 3 minutes to see like what's going on and who commented what. But it has given me a chance to really connect with some fans, you know? I really do try my best. Like, if a fan is, I mean, there's fans that have been with me from day one, of like even before, after. And like, I always have this dream of like, man, like I can't wait to like, maybe one day I'll be able to like bring them on set and just like have a day with them and like just show like my love and support for people that really are there for me like that. So it's really given me a chance to connect with a lot of fans, which is great. I always try to send fans birthday videos. Like, I'll have like, hey, it's my friend's birthday, can you send a video? Every time I see a message like that, every single time I will do it. So that's been a lot of time doing that, which has been great. But it's also, I just got Twitter, so I'm learning to tweet now.
I think I saw that on your Instagram.
Yeah, which I guess is beneficial to learn to tweet. My first tweet was tweet. I don't know. I don't think I'm doing it right, but
I love it. Well, one of the last questions for you. I absolutely love the scene in the show where Davey comes over to Paxton's house and she's doing like the modeling, like, you know, like with in front of his sister and everything like that. When I was talking with Maitreyi about that earlier this morning, she said that like a lot of like improv was kind of happening during that scene as well. But I'm curious for you. I know that Mindy and Lang had great, you know, screenplays and scripts for you to work off of, and the dialogue is literally perfect. But I'm curious, what scenes in particular did you do any specific improv in that fans might not know about?
Yeah, it was mainly between, and it's funny, I was just on another interview and I was talking about this because I love this guy so much. So the guy, Benjamin Norris, who plays Trent Harrison, who plays my best friend, long curly hair.
He's hilarious.
Him and I just had this, we just had such a chemistry. Even right when we first met, we were like boys immediately. So we would riff off of each other a lot on camera, like especially at the end of certain scenes. So when we're like, you know, he's like, whoa, you're Asian? And I'm like, what do you think Yoshida is, bro? And like at the end of the conversation, I go, dude, you've met my dad like 40 times. And he goes, oh, I thought that was your neighbor. That was totally us improving and just riffing off of each other. Another one was,
I love that. And they actually left that moment kind of off camera as you guys are walking away too, which was really cool.
Exactly. And that was Kabir that was directing that episode, Kabir Guitar, who's amazing. And he let it happen. Like, we had that and other variations, and that's the one that made the cut. And then we had one where we're walking out after Davey's getting shouted, you know, coyote girl in class. He goes, oh, so what do you think's gonna happen on the full moon? And I go, that's a werewolf, bro. And that was another just moment where we were just like vibing off of each other. And I was like, do you mind if I say this? They were like, yeah, go ahead. So Mindy, and another testimony, Mindy, this is a lot of people may not know this, but my character's name originally was Paxton Hall. And then Mindy heard me speaking in Japanese with our AD, who is Yuko Agata. And my mom is Japanese. Grandma spoke to me growing up a little bit. I took it in school for 2 years. So I'm like decently conversational at it. I need some work, but I like to practice it when I can. So Mindy and Lane got wind of that and were like, hey, were you speaking in Japanese with Yuko? I was like, yeah. They were like, well, do you mind if we make your character Japanese? And that's where Paxton Hall Yoshida was born. So
I love that. Well, that's what
yeah.
that was like actually what I had here. I was like, I loved that Mindy actually used like your natural like heritage and put that into Paxton as well, because when that moment when you speak Japanese, I'm just like, it makes like Paxton like more like interesting. You're like, ooh, like you're like, let me learn more about him. Last question for you regarding Paxton. I love how when we're introduced to his character, it's kind of he's a different character he is at the beginning of the series than he is at the end. And I absolutely, even though I binged it within a couple hours, I really feel like just watching the arc that you did for him from the very first episode to the end was just like very relatable. So can you talk about how you found that into like going from the pilot and like making sure that you have that arc? Because obviously with a series, I feel like you're able to play with the character arc a little bit more sometimes versus, you know, a 2-hour-long movie. So talk about that process and what, you know, maybe if you and Mindy had any conversations and how you guys wanted Paxton to look to the audience.
It was very much, it was an interesting boundary to tiptoe, because it was like, he can easily be read as a jerk, a kind of a pompous, like I'm better than everyone, which Mindy and them didn't really want that to be what it was about. You know, like, sure, that needed to be in there, but he's more of just an aloof character where it was like, I would do certain things and I think, you know, they'd be like, well, it's coming off kind of, you know, like he's insensitive, whereas it's more as things have just come so easily to him in his life that he doesn't really understand, like, he's not being a jerk. It's just things have always come really easy and naturally to him. So it's just like, oh, okay, great. Like, here we go. This is what we're going to do. But what I did relate to on him is that he is very much a book judged by his cover. And I could relate to that in high school. Like, the amount of times I had people come up to me like, hey, you know, before I knew you, I thought you were a real jerk. And I'm like, thank you.
Okay.
And so it's like, that's kind of Paxton. I think he's so like unapproachable and he's Mr. Cool Guy. But when you really get to know him, he has this heart of gold. And it was really allowing, you know, Davey to kind of pull back those layers. And the whole show, I think every character can relate to the same theme in terms of like, be yourself. Everyone's kind of hiding something. Everyone's kind of sheltering something, has this facade. And mine is, I'm too cool for school, you know. And then I meet Davey, and it's like a girl I would never go for. I might be ashamed to be seen around because she's not part of the clique I am. But then I really start to like her. And then I go through this, like, you know what, forget it. Like, I like her. It's okay. You know? Right. So it was, layer by layer, episode by episode. I think he gets pulled back a little bit and you see more his heart rather than his chiseled jaw.
Yeah.